Rapidly rising housing prices are leaving people with no other choice but homelessness. Gen Z and millennials either couch surfing or living in their vehicles is the norm these days. And the older folks are starting to wake up and experience the same things. Or at least they're starting to be more vocal about it, that is. Leaving pretty much everyone from all generations running around in circles like a chicken with their head cut off. Well, if you personally feel like you relate to anything discussed in today's video, or would you simply like discussing the topic of the downfall of society and the collapsing of the country around you, feel free to like, comment your thoughts and opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily videos around here discussing topics just like this. And I want to start this video off by giving a huge shout out to all my channel supporters, my Patreon supporters, my channel memberships, and everybody who rocks the content. You can check out all the donation links and all those stuff down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the channel around here. Now, let's begin the shit show, shall we?
It is a perfect representation of what working a job makes me feel like.
We're just all rats in cages.
You guys, it only took me 573 applications to get a job.
That's a lot.
Only 573. I don't know why everyone is saying that the job market's so bad right now.
Okay, the question of the day is, with these young adults just graduating from school, starting their life, rent being, good God, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a month.
I would really love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on how your housing prices have been increasing over the last few years. I know pretty much everybody around me, whether they own a house or they rent, it's absolutely insane. Now let's hear what she's going to talk about. She's going to talk about how the new young adults, how we're kind of, people are, the economy, the system is setting us up for failure.
How are they living? I mean, it's going to eat half their paychecks, and then what? Do you think we're setting them up for failure? Do you think that they should try to have cheaper places, maybe?
I mean, not only is the cost of literally everything, the cost of living, housing, groceries, pretty much any necessity that you need, the bare minimum necessities to live, are going up and up and up, and don't seem to really be slowing down at all. But then the debt that we're just so willing to put people in, whether that's credit cards that are constantly getting in the mail trying to convince you to sign up, the loans you see on every app saying, it's like the Bridget app, the Dave app, any of these, payday loans that I can only imagine the percentages if you don't pay them for so long. I know they're probably okay if you pay them off, like small loans over a small amount of time, but still, I mean, you use that wisely because it can definitely creep up on you, and that really can bite you in the ass in the later years. And not even including the college debt if you do plan to do anything that involves schooling. I mean, that's already insane if you look at the way that's increased over the last few decades. I mean, it's almost not even worth it depending on which degree you're getting. So let's continue.
Not so pleasant of environments. What's your take on that? I'm interested to know.
Let us know in the comments.
I keep telling homeless people to get a job. Shit, I know people with homes, cars, and resources who can't get a job. Leave them people alone.
How about all of Gen Z versus the cost of living crisis? How about recent grads versus getting a job? How about recent grads versus moving out of our parents' house? The pain doesn't stop. I think being in your 20s is constantly being beat up by this world.
Isn't that crazy? I think being in my 20s is just constantly being beat up by the world over and over and over again. Honestly, isn't that kind of what we kind of expect in our 20s? I mean, I know it's kind of supposed to be like, oh, in your 20s is where we're going to live our lives. I think now these days in your 30s and in your 40s, if you can make it to your 50s, is really where life really gets wild, because no one can afford to live their lives in their 20s and 30s, especially if you want to start a family young. I think it's more common now to start your family in your 30s versus starting them in your 20s. I know I still have a lot of people from my graduating class. I graduated in 2018. I'm currently 25. A lot of people from my graduating class are buying homes, starting families, and getting married. But I think it is a lot more common to do it in your later 20s versus my mom did it like right after high school, like 18, 19, 20, 21. If you weren't really like, shacked down with a couple of, dip kids in a nice, few bedroom house by 25, what are you really doing with your life? And now, if you like run your own business and you're making over like 100K a year, you're honestly on top of the town for the majority of cities you live in if you're not in some of these big cities in the US. And honestly, in some of those big cities, 100K might barely even be able to get you by. Insane how America is, right?
Anyways.
I'm 35 years old. I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor at my friend's place because
Common thing.
It's impossible to get a rental or it's way too expensive. And my only options are sleep in my car, sleep on the floor at my friend's house, or try and find a room in a share house if I can afford it, if there's any available. Knowing my luck, I'll end up with some fucking weirdos. How are those my only options? How are those the only options of many Australians right now? Before anyone says, you're 35, why don't you own a house? I did own a house in my 20s. I owned a house with my ex for 6 years. We bought at a good time in 2012. Then we split.
All right, she's gonna tell her story, and I'm going to let her. I just want to take a little break. I said she let's go for 35. I actually saw this meme the other day where it's like, back when I was young, everybody talked about MILFs, and MILFs were like what 35, 40. Now I'm 25, so I'm creeping up on 30, folks. I'll be 35 shortly, so I'm looking at her like she's she's not that much older than me. I mean, in a few years we would have been in the same high school, graduating, classes around the same year. So it's insane to think how you don't really realize how old you're getting until you get it there. So, oh, and the joke was saying that now MILFs are just people that you went to school with. There is no MILFs. It's just single moms, which is insane to think that. And honestly, I have nothing against single moms. I mean, shout out all you guys and happy late Mother's Day. I didn't really point that out, even though I didn't make videos on the day, but I don't really call them any holidays. I'm not a big fan of holidays. I think holidays are just a late stage capitalism way to make people continue buying more random shit in the system. I worked at a lot of different retail stores, and the way they just pitch holidays is if it's just the way to just rinse everybody's pockets for random bullshit that gets forgot about the day after and usually gets thrown away in the long run over the process of life. So whatever.
Paid me out. It wasn't enough to then go and buy another property. So I think I'm just going to have to start applying for rentals, like one-bedroom apartments. I don't mind living in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, but having to pay $500 a week is fucked. I earn an average wage, but I can't afford that.
If there's any Aussies, what's the average wage in Australia? It is kind of crazy to think that it's not just a U.S. problem, it's a global issue, that the cost of living crisis is actually affecting many different currencies and many different people all across the world. On my lives, I have actually found out that I've been going on my YouTube Live a lot recently. I do that every evening now, so feel free to catch me over there. I've realized that a lot of my viewers are actually from other parts of the world, and it's super cool how YouTube does broadcast the content in my videos to people across the pond or in different parts of the globe. And it's crazy to think how so many people can relate to this, not just in America. But as I do always say, America is a growing issue where more and more of the population are facing financial struggles, and less hope for the future. But anyway, if you do relate to anything discussed in this video, or just simply like content like this, feel free to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily uploads around here, discussing topics just like this. And before I end this video, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who supports my content, especially all the big supporters who go above and beyond, and check out some of those donation links down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.